Reached the Office of Professional Standards office. Not available at this time. Please leave your name and number, and we will return your call. Thank you.
Reporting racist hate crimes being committed against me by dispatcher. Day and night, police officers continuously committing hate crimes against me for being a so-called white woman, as the same terrorism that was done to me before, when I was being a victim of domestic violence, when my windows were busted out and being terrorized and being threatened to be killed, and telling me that I should kill myself, and psychologically being terrorized and harassed by a degenerate, delusional psychopath, claiming to be dispatcher 7170, but I'm not sure if they're switching it over to another number or not. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It seems like there may be like two people at play where they're being switched over, because that happened before. That was actually reflected in other dispatchers, when people were basically using other people's dispatcher I don't know, either number, identity, or call. I'm not really sure. Whatever. You don't even answer my call, so really pointless, and you don't even sit there and do anything about it. I think this is all funny, as I'm continuously, whatever, which their plan is basically to take over Vineland and take over your, police department. Actually has been said, when people came to my page, basically claiming their supremacy, by the way, claiming they're going to take over Vineland. So, and actually basically as being said by your Chestnut Assembly, or whatever, and then using other people, whatever, and claiming of the fraudulent Pentecostal cult or whatever, stealing my words, sitting there saying violence mine or whatever. What that has nothing to do with the takeover of Vineland. I just simply live here. Everybody echoing their threats of war or whatever, against, I don't know, all kinds of different peoples, I guess, as long as, I guess they're white and, or religious. That means basically have laws of justice. Whatever. I don't know. You've committed hate crimes against me also because you're an atheist and basically falsified reports or refused reports, whichever one, or whatever, slandered me and tried to cover up your crimes against me. So, oh yes, you have falsified reports before you were basically promoted and rewarded for basically, committing crimes against me. So, whatever.
Thank you. To review this message, press 6. Thank you. Your message has been sent.
He's like,
thank you for calling. To access your mailbox.
Whatever. He's never actually returned my call except for one time or twice or whatever, when he said he accidentally hung up on me and called back. I don't know if that was like a setup or whatever, but he didn't accidentally hang up on me though, but whatever. Hung up on me, got mad because, I convicted his soul, basically told him the truth. I'm being refused rights and services. Oh wait, I dialed wrong.
You have reached the City of Vineland Police Department. For police emergency and non-emergency dispatch.
Vineland Police Operator 7170.
Yeah, I have a right to sit there and speak to a sergeant, please. Do you think she can sit there and just, refuse me to speak to a sergeant and then refuse me rights? This is what they're doing. They were racist and said I'm not allowed to call the police department, and because I'm not allowed to call the police department because I don't speak Spanish, by the way. She continuously discriminates against me. Basically, I threatened to be killed, basically, a couple years ago when she did this. And I'm being, hate crimes being committed against me by the racist and violent New Jersey Police Department. They falsify reports, by the way. Refused to let me sit there and speak to a law enforcement officer, and they falsely called the police on me to have me locked up because I'm white and because I was crying and being abused, and somebody was threatening to kill me and was torturing me.
Please enter it now. For a list of further options.
And she just harassed me, called me mentally ill and EDP for crying.
For police emergency.
So they're flipping things backwards. She says she's a psychopath. She has severe mental disorders while she's calling her victims she was abusing mentally ill.
Vineland Police, Operator 8617.
Yeah, I'm being hung up on. I'm harassed. I need to speak to a sergeant.
Okay, ma'am, I can transfer you to my sergeant as long as I confirm he's down at the room if you want to hold on for a second.
Okay, thank you.
Nobody is answering down there, so I'm assuming they're not in the room. Would you like to leave a message?
Yeah, is there somebody available? I need to speak to somebody. Is there a captain available? Is Lieutenant Lene Bowers in today?
Captain Bowers? I have no idea. I could transfer to her extension if you want to hold on.
Yeah, I don't want to leave a message. I need to speak to a person because I'm refused to speak to a person. I've been trying to get a hold. I've just been terrorized all day, causing trauma.
I can transfer you to her extension. I don't know if she doesn't pick up, it should go to voicemail.
Right. Do you know anybody? Is anybody available?
I can hold on. Let me check and see if the lieutenant. You did speak to Lieutenant Shaw already.
Well, he refused me to speak. Was speaking over me and refused me to speak and talk and make a complaint or say anything.
I'm sorry. I
yeah.
cut out.
Huh?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
I'm sorry. No, he was speaking over me and refusing me to speak and refused me to make a complaint and talking over me. It's a manipulation tactic for people to obstruct justice and refuse evidence and flipping things backwards. He was basically he was gaslighting me and mentally abusing me and controlling what I say so I do not make a complaint or make a report what was going on. So he basically was committing crimes against me. And that's when I called back to sit there and speak to somebody else or whatever, to speak to a lawful officer. I don't know if he's white, black, or Puerto Rican. I know I have racists committing hate crimes against me. I'm misogynistic, even white people or whatever. But I know I'm being unjustly discriminated for being basically, a person who is suffering under persecution and abuse or whatever for being a white woman. So... And basically a lot of officers are targeting me for being an intellectual Republican supporter, not a Trump supporter, Republican supporter, religious woman, and intelligent, who basically is suffering oppression, so.
Okay. Do you want me to transfer you to the captain's extension? Again, I don't know if she's still here. It is 3:30.
I'm going to I'll leave a message so I know you can't, you don't have this whole mind of the whole police department on, in your mind to sit there and, I'll try that. And then, because I was controlled before and people were manipulated, she basically tell me to call back for the next shift. And the thing is, it's I'd rather speak to a day shift and I'm calling the next shift and they harass me. So, I might have to do that, but.
My partner is the one that advised you to call her, and that was strictly, she wasn't harassing me, she wasn't trying to harass me.
Yes, I recorded it. I recorded it.
Yes, I was listening.
She basically made a racist comment to me.
You have an issue with Officer Vi, so she was trying to give you an option to speak to the...
No, I had recorded it. She made a racist comment to me and basically told me not to call there. And told me I'm not allowed to call the police department. She did that before a couple of years ago. So that's her lie.
Okay, but that's a different dispatcher.
Well, I know she has switched 2 different dispatchers, and that was 7170, and she switches over and basically takes over another dispatcher of another one and plays these little games. She's actually committing crimes against me. So I did put that on video when I recorded her, that there was 2 different ones, and I basically just shared that information of the manipulation tactics. She is committing crimes.
Okay. Well, I will transfer you to the captain. And to be honest, if you feel that you're getting no results at all from the police department, I'm assuming you can contact a lawyer and tell them what has occurred.
I can't afford a lawyer. I can't even afford to pay my next set of groceries. I couldn't even take a cab to the police department. Basically, I said before, I mean, I can't even buy a pack of cigarettes. I have to quit.
Oh, okay.
And they're all the stress I'm going through.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a plus that you're not smoking anymore. Even though it wasn't necessarily your choice, it's, you know.
I know that's not good. That's not a good thing at all. But you know, I mean, it's just like, I mean, you have people, racists want me to drugged up under their psychopathic delusions, abusing me, so they don't think they belong on medication, but they want to destroy my brain by their lies. So, because I'm basically reporting abuse, me being a victim of domestic violence and abuse and crimes is not my mental illness, and they thinking so is basically their craziness. So, I wouldn't recommend they go on medication though to have their brain damaged. I mean, it already seems like they have a little bit of brain damage, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that. That wouldn't be so cruel. So the thing is, it's just that I don't know. They probably needed to cool off a little bit though and go into basically a sane asylum. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So anyway, the thing is just that, yeah, I have no money to call a lawyer. I can't even get a lawyer for my husband or myself. And the Vineland Police put me under a lot of situations by their crimes, by the way, to like destroy my whole life over and over and over again. And I can't afford a lawyer, so.
Okay.
And that's just the way it is. I can't afford it. I'm screwed.
Okay, well, do you want me to transfer you to the captain?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay.
You have reached Captain Lene Bowers. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, hi. This is your enemy. But I'm not enemy of law enforcement. Teresa Lockwood, being harassed and terrorized by the same one who basically falsified reports on me before when I was going through domestic violence, committing racist hate crimes against me, and by many of the other officers, supremacists attacking me for being white. I was just basically told that basically I'm not allowed to call the police department. That's what she said to me a couple of years ago, as I was falsely arrested and falsely charged by her slander, false accusations, as I was being terrorized by basically, going through domestic violence for days on end. So she's doing it again, and yes, I went off on her the same way as being psychologically tortured by them. They're refusing me to call the police department and basically said I was not allowed to call the police department unless I speak Spanish. So, they're sort of flipping things backwards where people are speaking to me in Spanish, not basically, when I couldn't understand what they were saying or whatever, said you need to speak English because I only speak English or whatever when they were able to speak English. And I'm sorry, it's not the same principle, but they're psychologically torturing me and basically still refusing my rights and basically calling me mentally ill for being, excuse me, a white woman, intelligent woman, for being a victim of domestic violence and actually going through something, as they imagine and act like they're going through something, and they don't. So, and so they actually falsely called the police on me a couple of years ago, whatever, to act like they were going through something because I'm sitting there, calling for emergency, for basically being victim of domestic violence, saying they weren't allowed. I wasn't allowed to call there unless and I'm calling for crisis because I'm white. In quote white. I'm sorry, we're all people of color. I'm not actually white, but I'm actually beige, so very colorful, beige, brown, pink, whatever case may be. I don't know. All kinds of whatever. Anyway, so I'm a woman of color, basically. So I'm colored. So anyway, so the thing is, it's just that yeah, so I'm basically reporting hate crimes being committed against me continuously. I basically am dealing with a lot of supremacists, racists committing hate crimes against me over the last months or whatever, refusing me my complaints and slandering me. I'm making up all kinds of lies, falsifying reports on me, flipping things backwards. And this would be including a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so or whatever, in quote, so-called white officers that are misogynistic, by the way. refusing me to make a complaint, making up their own rules against the law. Okay, so they're claiming I'm not even allowed to report my husband being abused, as police are using nurse personnel or whatever to harass and abuse my husband, and lawyers to harass and abuse my husband and falsify information or whatever. And telling me I'm not allowed to, well, basically make a complaint against the heinous crimes going on and the abuse going on against my husband, saying I'm not allowed to make third-party complaints, which I am, and it is lawful for me to do. And they're lying to sit there and refuse me to report abuse to me or my husband, which they're using my husband to basically as a sport, to basically sadistically torture people or whatever, and torture women who basically, while nobody's hears or are more vulnerable and unable to defend themselves or whatever. So, this is, I know you never done anything for me before and refused my rights under the oppression and control under supremacist, misogynistic, and racist police officers.
Has been sent. One moment, please. Thank you for calling the City of Vineland. Please say the first and last name of the person or the department you'd like to reach.
Well, this is my number, and this has been sent. I don't know what that means. Never heard it end like that. So, whatever. Yeah. All right. I'm ending with that.